everyone, welcome to the video. And today we have Arti Prasad with us. She is a technical writer at Google, and we are going to discuss about how someone can get started with technical writing to get an opportunity to the Google. What are the best practices that you have to follow, and what are the things that you have to do with your resume, portfolios, all the stuff that we are going to discuss about with Arti. So yeah, Arti, you can start with an introduction about yourself.
Hey everyone, my name is Arti and I'm a technical writer with over 9 to 10 years of experience. I have worked on different domains or different industries in technical writing and which involves uh, aerospace, automobile industries, computational fluid dynamics, and network and security. With this whole 10 years of experience, along with that, I have also worked on different open source initiatives, writing documentation for open source like VLC Media Players, GitHub. Also, apart from work, I like to do traveling, and that's what my YouTube channel is about, where I upload videos about traveling, my experiences to the places where I go, and the food which I enjoy at that places. So, yeah, that's all about me. Thank you, Ganesh, for having me on your channel.
It's pleasure to have you. And, that quite interesting introduction that you give to us. And yeah, the first thing, just start from very beginning, like when you completed your college and how did you get your first job?
Okay, so I did my aircraft maintenance engineering, which is a certification course, handled by or the certification is issued by Director General of Civil Aviation (DGCA). So it's a certification course, which is a 3 years of course. I did it from Institute of Aeronautics and Engineering, Bhopal, and after that I came to Bangalore to do my on job training, which is in Thankyou Aerospace. And after 6 months of on job training, I was like, okay, I was in a dilemma whether I should go do the field
Okay.
job or I should go and do the basically the writing, which I really used to like. That I want to write something. I do maintain journal blogs, or I do have a blog on WordPress where I go and write. So this writing was there in my head, in the back of my head. So I thought, let's pursue writing as a career. And because of that, I joined the documentation tape, where they write the documentation for the aircrafts, and the aircraft maintenance engineer uses those documentation in order to maintain the aircraft. So yeah, that's how the writing came into my life, and I started writing documentation. So I joined Capgemini, and there I was writing the or maintaining the technical documentation for CS 100 and 300 series of Bombardier aircraft. So after 2.5 years of working over there, I realized that apart from aerospace industry, there are other industries as well who write documentation or maintain documentation, and that's like a software industry. So I was very fascinated about it, like how that domain, because aerospace is a different domain and then software is a totally different domain. So how that domains maintain their documentation, whether they follow the same guidelines which we follow in the space, in the aerospace documentation, or how it is. So I was pretty fascinated, so I started reading you through YouTube videos, blogs, and articles, like how software technical writing works, how what all style guides they follow, etc. And then I started appearing for the interviews, software writing, technical writing interviews. And I definitely I got so many rejections, but every rejection was teaching me like where I'm missing, what I'm missing, and how it should be. And then yeah, one day I got a job in a startup which is called it Cimerix. They were into computational fluid dynamics. And then there I got the opportunity to start and work uh, as like a start their documentation. Actually, I was the first writer over there. So that was like a, I would say, very learning phase for me, where I started writing documentation from scratch. I learned the basics and created their in-house, style guide to follow by referring other available style guides in the market. So yeah, that's the journey, and then there's never looking back.
Yeah, like you explain everything from zero to like all how you started and all the stuff. I just want to get idea about when you started the aerospace and all documentations that you mentioned that you follow a particular style guide. So which Google have their own style guide, Microsoft have their own style guide documentation online right now. But when you started very back, I think. So
2014, yes.
yeah, so that time you have that resources for like in your hand like to study and follow these guidelines, or you refer other style guides. Tell us about that. Like,
Yeah, so see, that time I was fall into aerospace industry, so they have their own style guide. So yeah, so they have their own style guide. So I was following that. But when I decided that I want to move into software technical writing, so I think Microsoft style guide was already available in that market, and I never thought of Google style guide. It was I never thought of Google like and their technical documentation, because I think maybe I was not big, aiming very big or something like that. So the widely known style guide was Microsoft style guide. So I was referring to those, when I was reading by myself.
okay, and like I want to know aerospace. Like you're working on aerospace documentations and which are completely and technical writing, the technical products, software products, which are completely different domain. Just like you're coming from aerospace domain, where you have to write about the. I really don't have idea about aerospace and all the stuff, but I have bit concept, software development and all those stuff, which are completely when you write a particular article or particular documentation you have to maintain. So how you manage that stuff, or
See,
do you find similarity in between?
mm. Well, you true like whatever you said, I 100% plus to that. Like, see, both are like totally different domains. I totally agree to it. But to become a technical writer, I think the basic thing which you need is, you need to write clearly in English. You should learn the complex technologies, and relatively very quickly you should learn the technologies, and you should have the ability to explain the complex technologies in a useful ways for your targeted audience. So you should have all these quality in order to be a technical writer first. So when you know that you have this qualities, so that time it comes into differentiating. So for example, when I was into aerospace, they have of course different, but you are also writing the technical stuff over there. It's not like that you are not writing over there. You have to write the complex and information and make it very easier to understand to your targeted audience. So there also it's the same. The only difference which I felt, they actually, the process itself is the same. Like they also follow the data, they also have the whole launch process schedule, how and when it should go. So the process and everything is same wherever you go. The only difference is the technology which you are working on. There it's more of the aircraft, and here you have more of software. So in order to shift or to transit, do the transition from an aerospace to your software, you should first read about the domain which you are interested in. For example, if you are interested into networking, so get started, because you have information widely available on your net. So you just use that, the available information what you have, and make your the baseline, which is to write the clear and concise English, grammatical, knowledge of your grammar, very improving your interpersonal skills, all those things. So if you have those, you can get started by acquiring the technical knowledge of the product which you are looking for, or the domain which you are targeting for. So read about the technology and everything, look into their publicly available documentation and see how they write how the information is conveyed there. So these all are the few things which I tried, referring into other publicly available documentation, how they write, and then go and start with a small task, like if you want to achieve X, how you will achieve that. So start writing it about it. So that's how I started.
Okay, that's quite interesting. And one thing to add for the people is if I want to get into particular company or particular startup, so into research we have to research about particular technology that I'm working on. So I should know that but little bit about the technology and the product that they are working on. So it's better to get an opportunity for them, because if you are selected, if you are not familiar with their technology, so you have to work on again, you have to work and learn this technology. So like when you started and you join Capgemini and the next companies you join, so which technology that you worked on, just like JavaScript, Java, initially which language that you learn?
Okay, so when I was in my higher schools, so I opted for C++ when I was doing my high school and studies. So so it's the basic knowledge I acquired over there. But when I start like when I started to think about, like, moving into software technical writing, I started with Java, and I did the self study with online available material and everything. And as a technical writer, there is no limitation of the knowledge, but a basic criteria which I feel as a technical writer is you should have the understanding of the code, like, how the code works, how the terminologies which are used by the software engineers. So you should know their language, you should know how they communicate when they talk. And because as a technical writer, you are going to interview them when you are collecting the information to write your documentation. So you, in order to communicate effectively, you should have some background about that language which you are going to discuss with your software engineer. So I started with Java.
Okay. And like, do you find any difficulty or anything while learning code? Just like I'm also a developer, and I know when you jump into the coding area, like you have to like a lot of things comes to you, just like you're like you have to be consistent, and you have to spend a lot of days and nights to debug that particular code, build particular projects, and you're coming from other domains. So like how easy and difficult it is to learn technologies for you.
Uh, so it also depends upon your interest. So if you
Okay.
have some interest on something, definitely there is a inner push for you, to in order to achieve that. So definitely it was very difficult, but thankfully for a technical writer, the knowledge is the expertise which they required for a technical writer is not to debug and some
Yeah.
write lines of codes or do all those stuff. The the expectation is to understand that what is happening, some basic knowledge of the class functions, whatever the methods or the API calls which people use in their documentation, the knowledge of all those things. So this is the expectation. They are not asking you to write code for them or debug code.
Okay.
So definitely it was very difficult for me, but yeah, I feel you should know what amount of knowledge you want in order to achieve, because knowledge is endless. Like if you start reading about something, there is no end towards it. But you should know that for X role, how much amount of knowledge is required in order to get that job. So you also think about that if you really want that job. So
Yeah.
for a technical writer, what they want is like, what is your knowledge towards whatever language you pick. So for example, if you are picking any language, so just understand those by seeing it, like, okay, what language it's written in, what are the basic uh, you know um, commands you have. If this function runs, what will be the error, or whether this will run or not run. Some basic knowledge you should have. So this is the
Yeah.
expectation. So I committed or segregated my time in that I should learn this basic things. So yeah.
I agree. Yeah. Like as a technical writer, you don't have like senior level development kind of experience. You have basic fundamentals clear and how the tech works.
Yes.
Yeah. So you can start with it. And like you have a decade of experience right now. Like it going to be 10 years, right? So from your experience, which are the books or which are the style guide people who you will suggest to the people who starting with the technical writing, or they already started with technical writing and find looking for their first opportunities. So what are the
Mhm.
some guides, some tutorials that you can share with them?
Well, there are a couple of style guides available, but the very famous one I would say is like Chicago Manual of Style or University of Oxford Style Guide. Then you have now Google Developer Documentation Style Guide and Microsoft Writing Style Guide. So these are the few style guides which you can refer, and they
Uh,
are openly available, like it's an open source, so you can go and just Google it.
Yeah, okay. I try to search and try to put the links in the description. And the next thing, like you live in a Bangalore from starting like aerospace. So there are already a lot of startups and like great support system for the developers and the tech domains specifically. So like you have any experience to working at startup as a technical writer? And if you work, so what was your experience there compared to MNCs that you work?
Yes, well, I did get an opportunity to work for a startup company where I was their first writer, and I was surrounded by, like, it was a very small company, like 6 to 7 software engineers, and I was the technical writer. The first and the basic difficulty which I felt was nobody was understanding what's the importance of documentation is, how the process work, and it was very difficult for them to understand, like, that it's a very crucial part of their software development cycle. It should go hand by hand, but because it was a startup, but of course they were very cooperative, and that was a challenge for me to make them understand, and the creating the style guide, make them understand that the tool selection, the uh, documentation development cycle, setting up those cycle over there. So yeah, these were the few difficulties, but yeah, like it was very challenging and I really enjoyed it.
Actually, reading documentation and technical writers are uh, the people that you can say they save a lot of time of developers who just started, because if you are following particular tutorial on YouTube and stuff, it will definitely get like lot of time. It's like if you are building particular projects from 3 or 4 hours of tutorial available on YouTube. And if you're reading particular article to creating that project, it will definitely take less time. You read all those stuff and you understand the code and how the particular line how works and particular functions. So documentations are pretty amazing. And yeah, like sometimes some developers don't get that idea. Like documentations are important. Like I know the people, but yeah, documentation helps a lot as a developer for the developers as well. And as a product or as a startup or as a platform, whatever it is, documentation are very important, because when people reach out to your website or read your documentation, they will get a clarity about your product, what you're building and what you're working on. So they can start with it, or they can support you somewhere, somehow or somewhere.
Yeah, totally
Specifically,
agree.
yeah,
Totally agree with you. I feel documentation is like the face of your product. Like, if your product is very good, everything's really fine, but the user is finding it too difficult to use it, then it's like it's going to impact the uh, whole ecosystem, I would say. So it's a very crucial part of any product.
yeah. And like you have a lot of experience. And do you do you did any contribution to open source as a technical writer? And if so,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
so how some technical writers can contribute to open source apart from readme file fixing that readme repo typos? Apart from that, how technical writer can contribute to open source project?
So there was an opportunity which I would like to share with. There was an experience which I would like to share with you is. There's something called as Google Season of Dogs. I don't know if you heard
Yeah,
about
yeah,
it.
yeah. The
Yeah.
Google
So
season.
that's yes. So I participated in that. So that's a very good platform or opportunity for any writer who wants to contribute to an open source. There, I think every year they open it and they
Yeah,
ask
yeah.
for the drafts from the people like with all like so I kind of contributed to the VLC media documentation. So
Okay. So
although
that's
I wasn't
very, yeah.
selected,
Wait. Okay, yeah.
yeah, but I wrote the documentation and shared my proposal and draft and how I can contribute to that documentation, what I'll be doing to the documentation, the changes and the enhancement, what all I'll be doing to the documentation. So yeah, that's a very good platform where you can get started with it. So that's one of the thing which I did to open source.
And it's competitive as well because Google Summer of Code is,
Yes.
yeah, Google Summer of Code is something a lot of people know, but Google Season of Docs is also a program hosted by Google, which more
Yeah.
focus on documentation and technical writer folks for
Exactly.
them. So you can contribute to open source project, and they also give you stipend, which is for Indian student,
Really good.
it's really good amount. It's in dollar, I
Yeah.
think $300,
Yeah.
$3,000 or something, so people can get into. And that VLC that you mentioned the project, it's very long back. I think right now the particular community not participate into GSORT, and
Yeah.
GSORT is competitive right now, but still lot of people don't know about it. And
Yeah,
because
I think
yeah,
GSOC is for like students and beginners, contributors to open source development. It is I would not say that it's for experienced contributors to open source, but the season of doc is more of like you should have some experience and it's a very good opportunity where open source project can hire you to write and help them create much needed content.
yeah, like if you have any particular interest and if you want to give it a shot, so like
Yeah,
at least
of
try
course.
to create a draft and submit, then maybe you are selected or not. It's future, but just try, give it a shot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now you have so many, like if you want to get started with, technical writing, there is this the page called as developers.google.com/tech-writing. So if you go to this page, you will see a lot of study material created by Google technical writers, especially for, technical writing courses for engineers. So you have like a one-on-one videos where they will talk about what is expected from a technical writer, what kind of a knowledge you should have, and there are a couple of courses also, study materials which you can go through and which is like free of cost. So you can that could be a very good place to get started.
Yeah, and actually there is a course as well for technical writers from provided by Google, which
Yes,
give the
yes,
complete idea about how your headline should looks like, how your image, SEO, and titles, how you work with the markdowns, and which kind
exactly.
of, yeah, uh, like all those stuff are available there. So if anyone who can search and we can read all those stuff. Do you know about the other program just like GSOT for the people who are starting to just like Outreachy? Do you know about Outreachy program?
No,
Yeah,
sorry, I'm not
it's
aware
uh,
of that. Yeah.
it's not specifically technical writer, but there is a different projects they provide where you can work as a technical writer as well. And
Mm-hmm.
MLH fellowship is also, but they are more focused on code. But you will get also technical. And there are a lot of
Mm-hmm.
options available right now compared to your time. People can start, and also some of the websites paid you in good amount, $50 or $100 to write articles for them. Just like DigitalOcean is cloud.
Yeah. So there are a lot of websites which gives you this opportunity to write content for them as a freelancer if you want to get started with. So you can get started with that as well, like be a freelancer and gain that knowledge and experience. Yeah, but be cautious.
Yeah,
So I was working with McAfee. I was enjoying the work, and everything was going pretty smooth. And then I just came to know that through LinkedIn, I came to know that Google like is hiring technical writers in India, because there were previously also, not previously, like I tried many times applying at Google, but they never used to reply back, and I was like, okay. Maybe I should wait or something like that. They never used to hire in India or something like that. But yeah, 2020, I feel they started hiring in India for Google Cloud technical writers. So I was like, oh, wow, it's a good opportunity. So I was hesitant then again that I'm not gonna make it. I know, like it's not about the confidence, it's just about that there was so much hype, like it's very difficult and all. People, when they talk a lot about it, their interview process is very tough and everything. So I was into that dilemma, and of course they said, like, you should have knowledge of code and everything, and I was not very confident about it. So I was in a like 50-50, that like
Yeah,
I should apply or not. So but what I because Google was there in in my list, that I want to work for Google one day. So this coding things are like, it was always there in my every step where I was learning. As I mentioned to you, I wanted to move to software writing, so I
yeah,
started doing my self studies. To During that phase, only I knew that someday somewhere I have to learn codes and some basic knowledge of that. So I was learning through YouTube videos for a technical writer, what kind of a questions they ask in a from a writing perspective. So I was learning that the thing was always going simultaneously. And when I got the opportunity, like they are hiring in India, I just I stepped back. I was like, oh, okay, I'm not gonna apply. Let me prepare more and more. So I did not apply for that. And then in 21, uh, one of the recruiter from Google Cloud, they reached out to me on LinkedIn. They pinged me that, hey, we are hiring, and uh, would you like to give an interview or something like that. So I was like, okay, now what to do? Am I really ready or something like that? But I was like, okay, it's okay, fine, it will not happen. The worst case scenario is that I'll not be
yeah.
qualifying the rounds and I will not proceed. That's it. That's what is going to happen. But if I'll not try, I might feel that I did not try
Regret.
it also. The regret will be there. So okay, so then I was like, okay, fine, let's go. And then they schedule a one-on-one with me, and they kind of walked me through the process of interview process, like how many rounds will be there, how you will be going, and how we will be proceeding with you, what will be your rounds, and what is expected from each round, and who will be taking those rounds, like not the people, but the designation wise, like who will be interviewing you. So the person walked me through all the process and everything, and he's mentioned that it will take a long time, because of the time zone difference. The meetings will be
Yeah,
during night, when the interviewer is available, like that and everything. Okay, so whole this discussion happened, and then the recruiter shared a written test document with me, where he said, like, you have to write a document about it, whatever the information we have shared it with you. And once you complete that, please share it with us, and we will review it. I'll send it to the interviewer, and they will review it. And then once you qualify that, we will let you know. So yeah, they shared the document with me. I kind of write the whole document about it, and then I shared it, and they said, "Okay, yeah, it's cleared, and we will move to." So this is nothing, just a kind of a prelim thingy, where they just see whether you have fundamentals clear or not, basic writing, knowledge you have or not, all the style guide and everything. So after that, they have something called as one-on-one kind of a writing exam, where the recruiter will not the recruiter, I'm so sorry, the interviewer will come to you and like on the Zoom, sorry, Google Meet, they will have a meeting, and then the recruiter interviewer will share a G doc with you, Google Doc with you, where they will ask you to kind of write a live exam in front of them. So
Yeah,
you will be writing, and then they will be observing what you are writing and everything. So that was pretty challenging because it's like you're writing and somebody is watching you that what you are writing. So
yeah.
that will be there. So yeah, so that went pretty well. So it was also kind of a creator documentation. So and it was a piece of a code snippet was there, and you have to write an API documentation for that particular code, where you have to explain each method, what does it, the description and the values and everything, and ask questions which are missing in that particular code snippet what they have provided you. So the ask was all these things, like to ask questions to them and everything. Once you qualify that, so they will just close the meeting and everything, and then they will check everything, and the recruiter will come to you back if you qualify that round. So after this you have like 3 rounds, uh, and after that, once you qualify those 3 rounds, you go through um, what you call it, hiring committee round, where they kind of look into all these 3 rounds which has happened, the score, not score, I would not say score, like how you have done it, where you qualify, whether they find it good or not. So every round, the interviewer will, kind of provide their thought process after the interview. So they will evaluate all those things, and after the hiring committee round, they will all like tell you whether you have qualified that those rounds or not. And once you do that, after that you have your hiring manager round, where you meet to the person, the team, the manager who is hiring for that, and you will have team matching rounds, etc. And after all those, you then go for your HR discussion and everything. Yeah,
And
so
like how
so
much
this
time it
all
takes?
went like 3 months. It took like 3 months for me to go
Yeah,
through all this process. So yeah, so that how it went. And all rounds will include like some basic knowledge of coding, where they will share the code snippet with you, and you have to create the documentation out of it, and you have to ask questions about like what is missing in that code, whether this code is incomplete, or it's a child, or it does require some function which is missing somewhere. So you have to ask all these kinds of a question. Also, like some basic things, for example, each line of code, if we can have some description about that, what does do. So all this kind of a suggestion you can give to, so that the software engineer who is taking your interview, they will know that the person knows something about it. And
yes.
if you don't know anything, just ask the question,
Yeah,
because that's what required from a technical writer, to ask questions. If you don't know, just ask the question that, hey, I'm thinking like this, whether it's correct or not, or I feel like this is wrong. Just help me understand why this is right.
yeah,
Yeah.
like you can
So
take
yeah.
help from recruiter as well, like particular method or particular concept, or maybe interview give you a particular question, and if you don't understand, so don't jump into the answer. Just first ask. If you don't get a clarity what actual you are going to do, so just ask.
Yeah.
And
Actually, about this whole process of my interview, I have created a video on my YouTube channel. So
yeah, yeah,
if
I
you are
will definitely
interested, you
share.
can watch that.
I
Yeah.
will definitely share into the description if people want to like do check out that complete video. It up to 6 minutes video I think, and where
Yeah.
Arti explain everything about how the interview process, the routes, the time that you required, and what are the things that you have to keep in mind to just. So as you mentioned, like they give you a particular topic and I have to write in front of them live. So what are the things that you will suggest to someone who are going to interview, or if someone get preparing for them, like, so what are the things that you want to share with them?
I think you're talking about the reverse interview, where So in this interview, they will just give a sudden, you will not be aware of what they're going to give you, the topic.
I
So
think it's
for
different from like each time they will give a different
huh,
task to different.
yes, exactly. So for example, if they just, so the interviewer will come and in the shared gdoc, they will write, for example, Gmail, and then they will expect you to interview them to in order to get the inputs. So as a writer, you should know how to get started, because that should be your core strength, to ask questions. So if I like if I'm at the, I'm getting interviewed, so I will ask like, okay, what is Gmail? The first question will be like, what is Gmail? As a user, I want to know what is Gmail, you have written this. So you just take a note that, hey, what is Gmail? You will be asking the interviewer, and then they will tell, okay, Gmail is a kind of XYZ, whatever. Then the next question is how I can use Gmail. Similarly, all those what, when, how, the four W's and two H you have, ask all those questions. Get started with those slowly, slowly, and then you will find more like follow up questions. For example, if they said like, this works on Android, or this works on iOS, and you can then all ask more questions like about what all versions it's going to support. So this is a follow up to your previous questions. So always listen carefully what they are saying, and just think about, put yourself as a user, that okay, when they're talking about this, so how many versions are going to be supported for my user. So always check with the follow up questions, and then take a note of all these questions which you are going asking with your software engineer. So after, when you have this set of questions, they will ask you to draft whatever information you have collected. So based on that, you should have one basic TOC in your head, that for any documentation, I would like to have some concept, task, and reference. As a writer, we should know what is a concept, what is a task, and what is a reference. So, in the concept, you should know about what, when, how, kind of information which you are not how, like what it is and what types of things are there. So all conceptual information you can segregate it into it, and you can propose that, I'm thinking of having a concept guide and overview guide where I can write all about this product. And then you can say, come into the task section, where how to achieve, how to write an email using Gmail. So this could be your one of your task, which you can ask and check with the suite that how I can achieve that. Then follow up questions like, can we use um, other informations also, like is there are multiple ways of doing. So these types of a question you should ask, and always listen carefully. And sometimes, so that is an interview, but in a real life scenario you have a lot of time, that what you are going to work on. So always research about that product and the feature which you are going to work on. So ask questions, that's what I feel is very important.
Yeah. And like, uh, is there anything like Google hire freshers, or if you want to get into Google as a technical writer, so you need experience as a 2 or 3 years before. What do you think? Just like,
No, I don't have answers for it, like whether, it's totally upon the role and the requirement. If the requirement is for a fresher, definitely they will consider people who are new, and they will hire new. But if the requirement is like for a people where they want the person to be experienced in cloud, or they want the person to be experienced in Android or in any other domain, so they will hire an experienced person. So I would suggest, like, before applying, where always go and look into the job description which they have provided. If it's written 2 to 3 years, just get those 2 to 3 years of experience by working in a startup, contributing to an open source environment, so that you can showcase, you can create your portfolio that I have experience of writing the documentation. And those experience could be of open source contribution. So if you have contributed to open source community, you can add that in your portfolio, and that will act as a experience, I would say, and apply. So it's totally upon the requirement. And I would say aim step by step. If you target for like in Google, and you see that they always open up with the higher experience job roles, so get those experience first, I would say. That's how you can approach towards it. If they're not hiring freshers, then it's fine, get those experience first. Yeah.
Yeah. And like next thing that I want to ask you about portfolio and resume. So for developers, it's simple, just like build a portfolio, showcase your projects, uh, like mention some experience that you have, build website with frameworks on HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So what about technical writers? How someone can build portfolio? Should they choose any particular platform, just like Medium, where you can build your whole I don't know, profile, and you can mention your experience as well. You can write articles and other platforms, or and like they
So
need particular website or something.
no, I'm not aware of that there are such thing, because I can talk about my experience. So I joined it as a fresher, where the requirement was a fresher, and then gain that knowledge, industry knowledge, get those experience, take it step by step, and then apply for roles, get those experience into multiple domains and writing. Now, because now I'm aware that there are open source communities also, so you can contribute there as well. But you should never get confused with content writing and then technical writing, if because both are different. People generally get confused with like both are same, they are talking about
Like,
writing, but no, they
yeah,
are
like
different.
can you differentiate between them? What is technical writing or is content writing?
See, as the name suggests, like technical writing is more about writing technology, right? And your end user or audience is the developer community, who are technically adapt in into those environment. Where when we talk about content writing, a content writing is for anything, like a company who is selling shoe, they want to talk about their shoe as a product, so you will be writing those information about the shoe, the quality, the material, the xyz kind of a feature it provides. So that becomes a content writing. Then you have like more of a travel vlogging, when you do very casual tone of writing, very casually you write as if like one on one, or an article business kind of a
Yeah, yeah.
communication, those type of a tone when you write. So you can use please, etc., in those kind of a writing. But in technical writing, the whole environment is more about technology and more into user centric, and you form or of a writing that you should do this, not should, like you do this or you try this or xyz. So the whole tone is different for both type of a writing. Here we follow certain style guides in technical writing.
Yeah.
There's nothing called as your grammar should be good, else you're fine. There's no style guide that you have to adhere there. So yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. And yeah, like for portfolio, as a fresher, you can start with it and gain some experience. Then
Yeah, like as you mentioned, there are open source communities. Start first,
contributing to.
going into those, contributing to those communities, and once you gain that confidence, simultaneously apply for the open positions, which are organization who are looking for freshers. Apply for those. Once you have that experience, once you get into it, then to you don't have a you know mm, uh, like you don't have to look back like, okay, need to get started, or how it is. Once you are into this industry, you will start gaining experience, and then you will have. your way, you will find it. Yeah.
Okay. And like from your experience, there are a lot of community for developers where they can connect, find opportunities, and connect with the people for ask help. So, is there anything for technical writers that you are part of
Yes,
or you want to share?
yes. We do have technical society of technical writing communities. So where you can go and join, like it's an open source place. You can go and join those. Then you have STC. You might have heard about it. Then you have TC World. You
Okay.
can join, that is technical communication world. So just go and google it, technical writing communities. You will find in India you have STC, and worldwide you have TC World. Yeah.
Okay. And just like how your experience with Google, how the work culture is there for technical writers, because I don't think a lot of people like have a particular data or particular session about technical writers on Google. Mostly the software developers, they connect to the podcast and they share like we have particular perks, benefits, we get food for free or anything that kind of stuff. So for what is the perks for technical writers and what was your experience at Google?
So talking about the perks, it's same as what a software engineer, because we all are employed
Yeah.
at Google. So the perks will be same. And talking about a day in the life of a technical writer, it starts with same, like you come to the office, go and look into your calendar, whatever is planned for today, you see those. If you have meetings, you go attend those meetings. But if I talk about me in a day when I go to the office, I kind of create a do not disturb time period for myself, where I go and just focus on my work and no meetings and nothing. So I kind of, to 4 to 5 hours, I block it in my calendar that I'm not going to do any meeting or anything else. I'll be working on those. So if we talk about a feature, so if a feature is coming out and we know that we are going to launch it very soon, so we kind of meet our program managers and software engineers, our UI team, and kind of discuss the requirement and everything, how documentation is going to be. Then after all this discussion, we start creating the draft, and we just do so many rounds of reviews with the software engineers, with their requirements, with the UI team, that how the UI will look, what kind of information you are going to put there. So writers go and help them, to write the UI descriptions and everything. After that whole lot of discussion, we kind of start working into the actual draft, which we are going to, you know give as a kind of a so we have something called as private previews, like just before the generally available, we do launches with small features with some restrictions. So yeah, so we review all those manuals and guides and everything, and multiple level rounds of reviews happens. So this is how like the process goes on. So we divide, like if I'm gonna work on this feature, so today I'll be drafting my DOC and discussing with the SUI about it. So that's how we plan our day, every week, every day, or something like that. So yeah, apart from perk, already people know a lot about Google perks and everything, so it's
Yeah.
nothing new. So yeah, I will not repeat the same thing.
Sounds like too professional, just like you have calendar, you have to stuff all the stuff like step by step and all the stuff. So
Yeah.
that's a technically like, sounds professional. And like one thing to I just want to your opinion, like what do you think in next 3 or 5 years, what is the role of technical writer? Because right now we have a lot of tools just like ChatGPT, Google Bard, and a lot of stuff. So is there anything going to harm technical writers? Because it's give a lot of great content in terms of grammar and quality information that we can say. So, what is your opinion on that?
So I'm not scared about it. Like, uh, I would give you an example. When calculator was invented, people were like, now human will be replaced because calculator will do all the calculation. We don't need human. But human came out of it, and they realized that, there are other things so which we can do. So I feel regarding this, like chat GPT and everything, it's still, this is after all a tool, an ML learning tool, which is still learning. and
Yeah,
it's going to learn, and it will take time to learn. But for example, and it will learn from the available data, right? It's nothing but the data which it's fetching, somebody's fetching into
yeah,
it,
yeah,
and it's taking and throwing that as an output, right? But data is also coming from somewhere, and data which is already existing. But the feature and the new products which we are going to work on in future is something which will be new,
yeah, yeah. Agree.
right? So for that you always need a new perspective, a new human, because we will always stand as a human and think as a human, that as a human what is our requirement. But a machine will take time to learn those. Right now we are not
Yeah,
at
yeah,
that stage where machine is thinking like
yeah,
human
yeah.
and
Just
emotions
like,
and everything is
yeah, yeah,
happening, right? So it's taking time, so I'm not scared about it. And even if that stage comes, I think we human will develop something new. We are the most fittest animals who survive and learn how to survive in any scenario. So I think we will find it that way, anything good. So
yeah,
I think we always need a writer or a technical writer whenever we are going to talk about product and feature. And if at this point of time, I would say that right now there is no, I see that there is no harm or something like that to this job role, or it's going to impact by these tools. I think I feel like the even the data which it is collecting will be, you need a writer in order to maintain those
yeah, yeah.
datas and sending those information. So right, so I think we are safe right now.
Yeah, and also the as you mentioned that data that he like particular tools, let's just like ChatGPT and Bard that they have, they always written by someone and that they store on their server. And whenever you input particular string, they take that data you as output. But how
Hmm.
the next product and next data is coming, so you need human to write about that particular product. You can't go
Exactly.
on ChatGPT. So that's a great thing you can keep in mind as a writer or any other profession that impacting through the AI and all those stuff, because it can't think and it can't give the what we say like outside
The
box
new
that it, yeah,
perspective of
yeah,
seeing things or a feature in a new way, that right now only human has to do.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so we are safe.
Machine can learn but not think like a human. Yeah,
Yeah, and it will take time.
yeah, yeah,
It will take time. It's yeah.
yeah. And like now comes to salary and money as compared to you worked on McAfee and Infosys and that companies as well and to Google. So what are the salary differences that you understand like as a technical writer, how much someone can make to that those companies and Google? Is there anything that you get like high level push as a technical writer in terms of money?
Um, in terms of money, I think the industry has a norm of some uh, they check with the what is uh, the average salary which is given to technical writers as a whole in the industry itself. They don't do like I want to give like the A, B, C like that. So they look into that, like what is the current space scale which on an average writers are getting with the number of their experience. So that's how it is. The more number of years of experience you have, multiply that with the some number. So if you really want to get the correct exact figures, what is happening. So there is a survey run by the STC, and there you can go and check what is the average pay scale, pay range is going with the experience for a technical writer. So you can search on Google like uh, STC pay scale survey or something like that, and you will get those results. It's so widely available, so you can check there. About Google, I think they paid pretty much decent enough for you to survive. And with the years of experience and what job level you are at, so that also varies. With different job level you have different pay scale, and I think every organization have some bandwidth of pay scale, as I mentioned earlier. So if you fall under that, so you have like accordingly. And of course, like the more you spend in the organization, you have your correction and promo. If you go for a promo, so your salary varies. So it's totally, it totally depends upon you what kind of a role you are applying to, what job role you are in, and which organization and what policy they have. So it varies with organization to organization. But yeah, I feel it's a pretty decent job role which pay you pretty good, and you can live a very happy life with whatever they give you.
Yeah, fun.
Yeah.
You will get decent money, the kind of experience, year of experience that you have. That's the and what about the health? Just like you're from India and you have a particular senior who are in different time zone. So how it manages? Like you have meetings at night or it manages somewhere, like how it works?
So, as a technical writer, we have to be in those meetings where, generally, especially when you talk about the sync ups and the product demo, when these kinds of meeting happen. So, as a technical writer, it's very crucial for us to attend those meetings in order to understand the feature and the launches and the deadlines and the plans which is scheduled for the coming months. So, it it varies from like every time. Like for example, we do the mix and match kind of a thing. Sometimes if they are like so many people are there from India time zone, if for example in the meeting room, so we schedule it for like in a time zone where it's not too late for us and too early for them. Similarly, if I feel that the meeting does not have, because we always try to kind of create agenda before meeting or going into a meeting room. So we just go and I just go and look into those agenda, and if I feel that something is like it's not relevant to me, this meeting is not all about documentation where I can go and ask. It's more of some other discussions and happening. And if I have any question, and so I'll just go and in the agenda I'll add my points, whatever I feel like I want to discuss or I need inputs on. So I just go and add those into the agenda or the doc meeting notes. And then I feel that if it's not very important for me, so I just do not attend those meetings, and I let them know that I'll not be attending the meeting, and I have added my points and the questions which I need from you in the meeting notes. And when they go and look into it, they reply back, and when I am awake, I'll just go and follow up with those. Sometimes if I feel that it's too late for me and I cannot join, but at the same time I know that it's very important meeting, so I ask or I request them to, record those meetings so
Yeah,
I can go and always look
better.
back in my time zone. So you can do that as well. So there are many ways. It's not always required for you to wake up late night and attend those meetings. So, and it's a kind of a pretty good, like, if you feel that, that it's uh, it's too late, you can always go and propose new time zone, which sorry, new time in your meetings calendars, that this is the best time we can meet. So that is also there. So I think it's more of a collaboration and understanding between you and your team, like how you want to work. Yeah, but I would suggest never just hamper your well-being because of all those things.
That's great. And yeah, I think these are the questions that I want to know, and people will definitely
Mhm.
get benefits after watching this video about technical writing from your experience. And yeah, anything that you want to show, like from your experience that you want to share with the people who are in the similar domain, technical writing, and want to pursue their career to next level, just like Google or anything company
Mhm.
that they are preparing, anything that you want to share.
As a technical writer, I would always say that always try, don't cool down your, um, um, want to learn things. You should always have that thrive to, I want to learn, whatever the new technologies is coming. Just don't get stagnant with whatever you learned in your previous year and just just going on and working on and working on. There's so many technologies and everything is coming because we are moving into AI ML world very soon. So we should make ourselves, technically very adapt in order to these technologies. So keep learning. I would say keep learning as a technical writer, because this is what you can do in order to challenge or the new thrives. Because there that's technical writer is not just the same thing which earlier, like 10 years ago, people used to say, like, that we just write the document. No, we do so many other things. So in order to do that, just keep yourself updated with the new technologies which is coming, and keep learning. That's what I can say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks Arti for coming on our channel and sharing your insights on technical writing. Yeah, people will
And
definitely get
thank
a
you,
lot of,
Anish. Thank you for having me on your channel. And I really enjoyed this conversation.
yeah, like lot of great things that you shared, and people will definitely get something out of it from this session.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah.